Hello, my friends. Let me get this thing out of my way. There we go. Fail. Here we are, backstage with Chris. Thank you guys for hanging out. If you were looking at the guy in the Hawaiian shirt going, what in the world is this dude doing on my computer screen? My name is Chris. I am better known as Chris Cooking Nashville on YouTube. I've lost about 130 pounds and working on losing the rest with keto and carnivore. And in the midst of that, accidentally became a keto and carnivore recipe creator and hopefully influencer, inspiring other people. I don't know what you would call me. I'm just here making really tasty food that is not violating the principles of a proper human diet and trying to give you guys just an insight into what I'm doing, what works for me and what doesn't, so maybe you can be inspired to try some similar things and change your health as well. I am in a different location tonight. This is the second time I have done one of these live streams sitting here in the living room. You can see our stockings on our stairway back there behind me because 'tis the season. Appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm going to say hello to you, and then we are going to dive in to what I think is a really interesting topic, and this is one that's been on my mind. Enjoying your food is not weakness. And yes, there are people in the community who act like it is, and I'm going to tell you why scientifically, anthropologically, and logically they're wrong, and you should not feel bad about enjoying your food, provided that the thing you are enjoying is in fact truly good for you and is meeting the health needs that your body has. We're going to talk all about that. Now, I'm not a doctor. Even if I was, I wouldn't be your doctor, but I am so not a doctor. I am a redneck, country kid, guitar player, and chef. That is what I do. Now, I am really well researched, and I think I know quite a bit, but nothing I do here is medical advice because I'm not qualified to give you medical advice, and I don't have that kind of relationship with you, so this is all anecdotal information based on my personal experience. Let's see who's here in the chat. If you are here, say hello in the chat. I would love to say hello to you, and make sure you hit the like and subscribe while you are here, because if you don't like and subscribe, YouTube doesn't know that you want to see the stuff that I do. If you don't hit that thumbs up, it doesn't know if you like this kind of stuff. And if you don't talk in the chat to me, I don't know you're here, and I can't make sure to say hello to you and make you feel welcome. So do all of those things for me, and let's see who is here in the chat. Let's see, there is the beautiful Emily. Good evening, friends. I'll come back for the replay. It's graduation day. Well, excellent. Congrats to all of the graduates. Emily, have an amazing evening, and thank you for popping in earlier to say hello. Richard Williams, our neighbor in Copper Hill, says, hello, neighbors. Good to see you, my friend. Dustin says, since when did Chris get jacked? And I believe he's talking about that right there. Yeah, I wish that was the way I looked. However, today is day 4, the beginning of week 2 of going to the gym. Ash and I joined a gym, and we are going 3 times a week, lifting weights and doing some light cardio, all kinds of things, trying to, again, take my health back. It's not so much about how skinny I can get, it's about how healthy I can be so I can live a long life. And having muscle is one of the things I need to do. So I'm eating very high protein. I am eating anywhere from some days very low fat to more moderate fat, and then sometimes high fat, depending on what the needs of my brain are. And I stay as low carb as I possibly can. I'm 90 to 95% carnivore. Sometimes I throw in a veggie or a seasoning or a onion or, things like that. And every now and then I go crazy and have a salad, and I didn't die. If that doesn't work for you, great, but it's working really well for me. I'm feeling fantastic in the gym and working on toning up, and we're going to lose the rest of that weight so I can get back to my ideal body weight, which I haven't seen since I was probably about 17 to 19. And yeah, we need to get there. So no clue what that is, but that's a very weird set of symbols. Maybe that was a typo, not entirely sure. Maybe it's a troll. I don't know, but thank you for being here regardless, because it still helps me in the algorithm. Holly is here. Hello, Holly. She says, evening, friends. And there is Mr. Marty Crum. Hello, all. Good to see you, brother. That's Rick at Twinbrook Acres. Greetings, all. Stopping by before I hit the hay. Well, Rick, get some sleep. We'll talk to you soon. B. Griffiths 1840 is here. Hello, all. And there's Sherry Nevada Pup. Hello, CCN fam. Good to see you, Sherry. Brian is here. Hello, Chris and everyone. Good to see you, brother. And that's Dennis, who says hi from Newport, Tennessee. Dennis, are you back in Tennessee now, safe and sound? Let me know. Let's see. Rebecca Harmon is here, says hi. Good to see you, Rebecca. Lynn Reed is here, I believe, from Texas, right? Says, Chris, you are quite inspirational. Well, thank you, Lynn. I try. There have been some people that have really inspired me. I'm just trying to follow in their footsteps and help people, because it's the best thing that I can do to say thank you for what they've done for me. Mainly Dr. Barry, who has said, if you want to thank me, go out and tell other people about a low-carb lifestyle, and I took him very seriously. Started a YouTube channel, and here we are pushing towards 150,000 subscribers later. Also, the channel has crossed 8 million views total, so that is thanks to you guys for all of your shares, watching the videos. You guys are incredible. I love all of you so much, and I could not do this without any of you. Thank you for being here. Peggy says, good evening. Hope you all are keeping warm. Well, we're certainly trying, but it is cold outside. My mom and dad are here, says mom and dad are here, finally up to 27 degrees. It was -2 this morning, warmer tonight, but we still have 6 inches of snow on the ground. And a snow day tomorrow. Well, you guys enjoy sleeping in and stay warm. Always good to have Mama and Papa Nashville in the house with me here. So trying to make them proud. Jocelyn is here, says Jocelyn from Mount Vernon, Ohio. That's really cool. I know where Mount Vernon is. I actually come from southeast Indiana, Jocelyn. So very good to have you here. Peggy says it got up to 29 today. A heat wave. Wow, Peggy, you better break out the sunscreen and the shorts. Brian says, I stopped caring what people think about me a long time ago. The only person that I care about their opinion is my beautiful wife. Brian, that's because you're a smart man. And Sherry says, OMG, no, you had a salad, the nerve. I know. This is kind of one of the things we're talking about tonight, because there are some people in the community that will tell you if even a slight bite of anything like that passes your lips, you're not a real carnivore, which is really interesting because I've never claimed to be 100% strict carnivore 100% of the time. But there are people who think that if you have anything that is not just meat, and honestly, based on some of the pictures that those kinds of people post and the things they tell me about cooking, flaccid, gray, mushy meat, because they have no clue how to cook, which is probably why they think this. They will tell you that if you eat anything other than that you are somehow failing and that you are addicted to things. And I understand that sugar addiction is real, and I'm not saying that it's not. I am a very serious carb addict myself. Hello, hi, my name is Chris. I am a carb addict. You all say hello, and I say thank you for having me. I am very much a carb addict. That is absolutely true. And sugar addiction is a major thing. But there is a difference between a physiological addiction to things like sugar and carbs and an attachment psychologically to different kinds of foods. Both of them can be very unhealthy for you. But those are two different things. And just because a food looks like something, or has a texture or has a flavor or something does not mean that it is related to your sugar addiction, because that is a physiological issue. I had a long post that I put up on Facebook that's all about this and talks about the science. But the thing is, some of the people that will tell you this do not understand that actually the concept of texture and flavor in our food is biologically wired in. And we're going to talk about why, because here's the thing: if you don't have information about what the devil is, you will see the devil everywhere you go. And I think this happens in this community a lot. And for me, I don't care. I can ignore people like that. But there are new people in this community who think, well, am I doing something wrong because I enjoy these things? Like, am I going off the rails? And they're not having problems until someone who's very dogmatic and says things like that get inside their head. That's why it's important we talk about this kind of stuff, because there are people who don't know this the way maybe you and I do. But we're going to talk about that. So let's see. Rebecca says, my husband is watching too. Well, hello, Rebecca's husband. Thank you for tuning in, my friend. Take care of your lady. She's a good one. And my mom says, you do make us proud, both for what you have accomplished and also for the amazing person that you are. Well, you were very sweet, and I'm doing my very best. I had good examples growing up, so doing my best. Thank you. All right, now the mushy stuff is over. Sherry says, well, we all know I'm not carnivore, so I guess it's okay if I eat that salad. Yes, absolutely. Sherry is why I love you. We love having everyone who has all the different perspectives on this all in one community so we can all work together. I love it. Dennis says, yep, got back to East Tennessee tonight alive. EST, just in time for your live. Well, Dennis, I'm very, very glad, and I'm so glad you got home safe, because I would be so heartbroken if you were stuck out on the road or something happened to you. So take care of yourself, my brother, and we look forward to seeing you soon, hopefully. Brian, the dogmatic people will fade away. Good riddance if you bully someone. Yes, yes, they will. And I'm doing everything I can to talk about these things so that new people to the community who don't have the confidence that many of us do have a place to go. Speaking of having a place to go, if you guys are looking for a community that is very supportive, go to this QR code right here. You can also just go to chriscookingnashville.com, and there's a little button that will say join the band. But if you scan this QR code right here with the camera of your phone and then click the little yellow thing that pops up, or if you go to my website, chriscookingnashville.com, and you hit the button that says join the band, you can join my private community, the Mighty Networks group of people who are working every day to support each other as we all try to get healthy and get to our ideal body weight, blood sugar levels, whatever it is we're working on. We're doing it all together. We are not dogmatic and judgmental. We are not perfect, and we don't pretend to be. We will hold you accountable if you ask us to, but we are not here to beat you up. So if you need a place to belong where you can share both your struggles and your victories so we can commiserate with you in your struggles and offer you tips and advice, or celebrate with you in your victories, no matter how big or small, go right here, scan this QR code, and come join us. We would love to have you be a part of the group. There are a bunch of those band members in the chat right now. If you are a band member and you are watching, drop it in the chat and say, I'm in the band. Would love to know how many of you are here. Love you guys. I also do private live streams, extra recipes, giveaways, all kinds of interesting stuff. And once I get done with this cookbook I'm writing, that band stuff is going to be the next thing I'm focusing on as a big project to start really growing and adding additional resources. So help me grow it. Go tell some people about it. Share it with people, and let's grow the band, and let's go change the world one plate at a time as we help each other on this journey. Let's see. I'll leave that QR code up there just in case you're charging your phone and can't get to it just yet or something. There is Nike says, good evening, everyone. Good to see you, my friend. And Lynn says, yes, Hubs and I are in Texas. Enjoy our food. 98% carnivore and loving it. Chris's recipes offer wonderful variety, and food is our medicine. Lynn, thank you so much. I'm so glad you guys enjoy the recipes. If I was doing this and nobody liked them, it would just be so heartbreaking. So let's see. Sherry says, which is why I'm here and why I stick around, because y'all accept me for who I am and how I eat, and it's okay. And I learn things all the time. Sherry, we love you just the way you are. You ain't got to be any different. Marty says, I'm a band member. That is correct. One of our very fortunate friends that we have gotten to be friends with. We are very fortunate to be friends with Marty and his wife Paula, and to have him in the band as well. So if you want to be around really cool people like Marty here, you can go join on the Mighty Networks group, and you can come hang out and talk with us, and you can get direct access to me and Ash. Dustin from Keto Simple, who was there in the chat, he's in there. Victor at Southern Keto is in there. Amanda Decker is in there from Deckerless Carbs, and she works with Dr. Barry and does some cool stuff. She's in there. You get private information and extra stuff and all these kinds of cool things. It's really fantastic. We'd love to have you. So let's talk about what we're talking about tonight, guys. Enjoying food isn't weakness. What the heck does that mean? Well, here's what we're going to talk about. Texture, biology, and why enjoying food is not a weakness. You are not somehow weak or addicted or not as good as somebody else on keto or carnivore because you enjoy your food. And especially if you enjoy some textures and some variety, it does not mean that you are bad. Now, if you use enjoying textures and variety as an excuse to go eat an entire bag of Doritos twice a week, yes, that is a problem. That may very well be a carb addiction because you are eating carbohydrates in the process of doing that. That is not the same thing as taking animal-based ingredients like I do, creating low-carb recipes and using them on special occasions to enjoy something or to have some variety if that helps you feel stable. Now, not everybody needs that. That is okay. Some people can eat a beef patty or a steak every single day for the rest of their life and be totally fine and totally happy. I actually have a theory that that's a genetic thing related to their palate and how they process food, but I don't have enough research to prove that I've been able to find just yet, so stick around for that. But I think that may actually be a thing for some of those people, and I think that's fine. The problem comes when we then apply that same concept to everyone in the world and say everyone must be able to eat the same single 2 ingredients every single day for the rest of their life, being meat and butter or meat and eggs or whatever. And if you want some variety, well, that means you're still addicted and you're not doing it as good as me. That's where we get into problems. And so we're going to talk about why that is illogical, irrational, and quite honestly just unscientifical. Okay. This is not about cheating. And this is not about a lack of discipline. Okay? This is human biology. If enjoying your food was somehow a personality flaw or a genetic issue or something that was wrong with you, humans would not exist. We would not have survived the last however long you believe humans have been here. I'm a creation guy from God above and salvation through Christ. You do not have to believe the same thing that I believe to be welcome here. So if you believe evolution or the Big Bang or some other religion or faith background, that is totally fine. I love you the way you are. I just don't believe in that, but that's okay if you do. However, whether you believe in evolution or creation or whatever, in the biology of humans is the ability to enjoy food. And without it, we would not exist. Whether you think we've been here for 10,000 years, 10 million years, or somewhere in between, we would not exist without the ability to enjoy our food. It is wired into our brains from birth, and I'm going to tell you about why. Biology is not something that shames you. Now, I'm going to say that again. Biology does not shame you. Ideologies do. Let that sink in for a minute. Biology does not shame you. Ideologies do. Your biology is not the problem. The ideology that other people are forcing upon you is a way to elevate themselves and make themselves feel morally superior and somehow better than you. That's what is shaming you. And that's why we need to understand that perspective so that we don't pay attention to that, especially if you're new to this and you're still trying to figure out how this all works. Now, am I saying you should go out and just eat whatever you want and enjoy it all because that's biology? No, that is not what I'm saying. Do not hear what I'm not saying. You still need to eat the things that are good for your body. I just had a post I put up on Facebook yesterday talking about the science of why your body works the way it does. You doing research because the responsibility and the freedom of health is actually yours. And if you know the science of why you believe what you believe, I don't care if it's the same thing I believe about food or not. As long as you're happy, healthy, and you can tell me scientifically why it's working for you, I support that. I think it's fantastic. But your biology, the science, does not shame you. People who want to be more elite, more important than you, those people do. And I am not saying that you should go out and just eat whatever you want, or that even you should eat the recipes that I make 3 times a day every single day. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. I don't know. The science and figuring out how your body is responding to it is your freedom. That's part of the cool thing of being a human being who has the right to choose what to put in your mouth. You can go whichever direction you want with that. Tonight and this conversation, this is about sustainability, not purity. And truthfully, my entire channel is that way. So what am I talking about? This is the problem. People are being told if you want textural differences, you're weak. If you want variety, you're addicted. If meat isn't enough, that's a character flaw. All of this is ridiculous, okay? Desire does not equal failure. Desire comes from biological feedback mechanisms. Our biology is made to create desire because it's part of how our body is wired to survive. It's an important element of how we survive. This is something we need to be able to have in our brain to survive. Without it, we would not be here. Your body giving you feedback is not a moral failure, no matter how many dogmatic people on the internet try to tell you that it is. Okay? Now, what you do with it matters, but the feedback in your body is not a moral failure. So let go of that. Like, I just want something different. Good. That means your body and your brain can still work. Excellent. Now let's figure out what we do with it. So, texture is a really big issue. You can do a lot of things with flavor, and honestly, flavor can come and go, and you can kind of play around with it and get very used to eating the same thing every day, and you're good and whatever. But sometimes texture can be a really big issue. So why is that? Texture actually came before taste, okay? Joshua Wiseman, like the biggest chef in the world right now. He's an internet YouTube chef, but he's like the biggest chef in the world. He has a book called Texture Over Taste, and it's all about textures in his food. It's a cookbook that is fantastic. Standard American diet food, so none of us probably eat any of this anymore. But the concept of how he cooks in this book is incredible. Very smart dude, very good chef. Texture is what he's focused on because texture is very important. Why? Texture helped humans survive, okay? Texture helped us figure out from the beginning, whether you want to call it creation, evolution, whatever you believe, from the very beginning, texture helped us understand the difference between fresh and rotten foods. The difference between safe things to eat and unsafe things to eat. And as we moved along and we got more into cooking our food and, extracting nutrients and even using foods that maybe weren't so good for us, but we could survive on them because we could cook them and take the poisons out of them. Beans, potatoes, lots of the veggies that are out there, like, they're much better for you. I'm not saying they're good for you, but they're not as bad for you when you cook them. And humans learned to survive on those kinds of things when there was nothing else to eat because they could cook. So cooked versus raw texture is something we started picking up on. We started figuring this out quickly. This is hardwired into your brain. And when I say that and you're like, no, Chris, texture is learned. Texture is taught. No, texture is hardwired into your very biology, in your brain, in your DNA. Babies, when they're like 6 months old, will start to automatically reject slimy and gritty textures. This is instinct, okay? They will instinctively reject this. Why would they do that? Well, slimy and gritty textures tend to be associated with things like rotten foods, parasites, dirty, poisonous, junky stuff that is not good for you. We are hardwired against certain textures and hardwired to seek other textures out from the moment we are born. And by the time we're between 6 and 9 months old and our brain is developed far enough to understand what it's feeling as we're eating, babies automatically know, nope, that's not a good texture, I don't like that, and they will start to reject it. It is hardwired into our biology. Wanting crisp, juicy, tender, creamy foods is a safety and nourishment check that our brain goes through. It is a checklist. It is hardwired in. That is why our brain does this. Texture, think about it this way, texture was the original nutrition label when we didn't have those things. It was how you knew something was good for you, along with the fact that you enjoyed the flavor and you could eat it, and we figured this out really quickly. But it was one of the ways that we had, one of the elements that was a checklist. That, the smell, and the taste are the three things that we're like, okay, yeah, this is something that is good for me. So texture and the flavors and the smells are part of your checklist. Okay? Your brain does this subconsciously because this is instinctual from the time you're born. Your brain feels food, not willpower. Okay? Texture is activating what's called mechanoreceptors, okay? So it's like these little mechanical receptor things that you can tell the texture of foods. It activates these receptors in your brain, and you get these dopamine pathways that open up, and you start to get activation of dopamine pathways. And it also activates a nervous system feedback. This is how your brain knows to go bleh when it's something that is not the right texture or flavor or smell, whatever. And it's the thing that makes you go, oh, I want more of that, when your brain goes, yeah, that's the right texture, that's the right flavor, that's the right smell, that's good, that's nutrition. This is hardwired into you. It happens automatically. It's not something you control. This is instinctual. And no matter how much you discipline yourself, discipline is not going to override neurology. Ever. No matter how dogmatic somebody thinks they are and how powerful they think they are and how good they think they've got this all figured out, your brain is going to win eventually because it is your biology. It is your neurology, and you cannot override it by just disciplining yourself through it. You may be able to hang off for a long time, but you cannot override that neurology. You are going to suffer through if you were trying to take something away that your brain is going, no, I'm wired for this. That's an important thing. Think about that. We'll talk about what that actually means in a minute. So why is this good for you then? Well, your enjoyment increases, which interestingly enough, when your enjoyment increases, guess what also increases? Compliance. You cannot be successful on any way of eating if you cannot stick to it and be compliant with it. Being satisfied will increase your compliance. Biologically, hardwired into your system. Don't be mad at me if you're a dogmatic carnivore that says, no, that's not the way it works. I'm not the one that made the human body this way. This is the way the brain works. This is a real thing. Enjoyment increases the compliance with this way of eating. Compliance creates consistency, and then consistency creates the results. Because if you can't stick to it, you can't actually benefit from it. So no matter how good meat, salt, water would be for you, if you can't stick to it, it doesn't do you any good anyway. So this whole, you just need to do this, and you just need to do that, and you're weak because you can't stick to it, it's all blather, and it means absolutely nothing. Because it's like, even if it's true, it's like, okay, well, so what? So you want to sit and complain about it, or do you want to actually help people change their lives? Because if you want to help people change their lives, quit bitching. That's all it is. So enjoyment leads to compliance. Compliance leads to consistency. Consistency leads to results, and your health improves. You don't defeat your biology or discipline yourself out of it. You just work with it. That's the key. That's what makes this work. So texture also equals satiety, and this really matters, okay? Chewy, crunchy, contrasting textures. They slow down your eating. They increase your fullness signals. and they reduce your grazing. Think about that. If you have to really work to chew through something, something is crunchy, something is these various textures. Now, I'm not talking about carbohydrates. I'm talking about real foods that are good for you. Chewy, crunchy, any of these various textures, and the contrast of those textures, it actually slows down your eating because you got to work to eat it. You got to work your jaw muscles, your teeth. You have to actually go to the trouble of chewing your food. You can't just swallow it whole like something that's goopy out of a package. You will actually slow your eating, increase your satiety signals, and reduce your grazing tendencies. Biologically. Not me saying it, it's your brain saying it. Monotony with your food increases obsession. So if you become so obsessed, all I can have a steak, all I can have a steak, all I can have a steak, all you're doing is thinking about food all day long. So who's really addicted? Satisfaction ends food noise. Now, satisfaction does not mean give in to the carbs and the cravings and the sugar and the cakes and the candies and the pies and the sodas and the pastas and the whatever. That is going to fuel an addiction. But when you eat proper human diet food, but in a way that is filled with satisfaction, you get not only the things that help satisfy you from a satiety standpoint, you get the psychological satisfaction your brain is hardwired to want, and you actually end the food noise that is making you obsessed about food. Maybe the reason the dogmatic guys who are all into the steak, salt, water, and beating everyone over the head are so obsessed with it is because they can't get it out of their own heads, and they need to project their own addiction on everybody else because they're fighting so hard trying to change their biology when in reality they can't. Just a thought. What do you guys think about that? So why is this good for you to have texture equaling satiety? You stop eating sooner. You don't chase food afterwards because you've been satisfied. And satisfied people don't binge on food. They're not obsessed. They're not binging. They're satisfied. Ask me as someone who was a severe binge eater and was 400 pounds because I could eat more food than you could ever imagine someone wanting to eat all in a single sitting. I would binge on things because food was a drug for me. Ask me how I know. So let's talk about stress, calm, and chewing, because I sort of hinted at this when I said that this chewing activity would bring about satisfaction. Let's talk about why. Chewing actually activates the calming of the nervous system. Okay? Crunching actually lowers stress hormones. They can see this on tests. Mouth movement equals regulation. You want to regulate your brain. You want to lower your stress hormones, things like your cortisol. You want to calm your nervous system so you can feel at peace and satisfied and good and bring your cortisol down and get your health where it needs to go and lose your weight and enjoy your life. Choose some different textures and enjoy your food. Lower stress leads to better blood sugar. Scientific fact. Lower stress also leads to fewer cravings. Scientific fact, but especially for me, very anecdotal fact. When I am stressed, I want to eat all kinds of things I shouldn't, and when I'm not, I feel a lot better. Calm people make better choices, me included. So chewing activates this calming effect, enjoying these textures, enjoying these varieties of things, and it calms you down. Now, what you're putting in that you're getting those textures from matters. But the textures or the flavors that kind of come along with these things, that's not the problem. That's the solution. Crunch isn't indulgence. It's actually regulation. Same goes for chew. Just think about that. That's not actually indulgence. That's a hardwired thing in your body that helps regulate your brain. Ask the autistic guy how important that is. So here's the line that I know everyone's like, but addiction, but addiction, but addiction. Yes. Addiction versus enjoyment. There is a very clear line in these two. Addiction looks like this: loss of control, escalation, compulsion, and shame. Everything that I have gone through in the midst of my food addiction. Loss of control. I absolutely cannot say no to something. Escalation. I have it once, then I have it twice, then it's 2 bites, then it's 5 bites, then it's the whole pack, then it's every single day, then it's twice a day, then it's I'm gaining 100 pounds because I can't stop. That's escalation. Compulsion. I have no ability to resist, and I just feel compelled, like I have to. There's no logical explanation for why you feel like you need to go stuff your face with something you know is not good for you, but it's a compulsion. You cannot stop it. And then shame afterwards, you feel like a total piece of trash because you know that what you just did wasn't good for you, and you want to hide it from people, and you don't want people to know you've done that. I've been that way a lot of my life. It's not good. That's addiction. What about enjoyment? Enjoyment looks completely different. Enjoyment looks like satisfaction. You're satisfied. Calm. You're not being compulsive. You're not losing control. You are calm. And there's no urge to keep chasing. So I've eaten my beef patties. I've eaten my steak. I've eaten my eggs. I've eaten whatever. And I'm good. I enjoyed it thoroughly. Man, that was amazing. I don't need more. My carnivore chicken fried steak. I've had my chicken fried steak and gravy. Man, that was good. I can't eat another bite. I don't need more. I don't need to go get it out of the refrigerator at midnight and keep stuffing my face. I don't need to eat until I feel sick because I feel like I'm compelled to continue stuffing my face. It's not the same thing. There's no urge to keep chasing more and more and more because you're not getting the addictive dopamine hit from the sugar and the carbs from a physiological side. That's the difference between those things. This is good for you because real food with real texture ends the loop. You know that loop of you can't stop thinking about food, you can't stop obsessing over food? The one that I said the dogmatic guys, I think maybe they have going on in their own lives and they're projecting their own insecurities on you. That loop, that's the one we have to stop. That's the one we've got to get out of. And real food and real texture ends that. Doesn't mean it's going to end like that. Like you don't eat a single beef patty and suddenly all your food addictions are gone. It doesn't work that way. But real food and the textures that you're enjoying and the flavors that come along with those really good foods, that helps end the loop. The problem is that fake food that we have all been eating from stores and in packages and all this stuff for so long, it overstimulates you. Real food just satisfies you, but fake food overstimulates you, and that's what turns into this problem because we've been eating all of these fake foods for so long. The other thing is all of these fake foods use things like texture and flavor and addictive things and sugar and carbs and all this stuff that we get a dopamine hit from. And it replicates the things that your brain would look for in whole, real foods, but it does it being nutritionally void. So you're not getting the nutrition you need, but you're being stimulated to have more and more and more of these dopamine hits and chase the calm and chase the nerves. But because it comes with the addictive stuff, it drives addiction rather than satisfying you. It's not the flavors and the textures and the way the food looks that's the problem. It's the ingredients that are in it and the fact that it's been designed to addict you. It has been designed to make you compulsively eat more and more and more because the more of it you eat, the more money they make, and they don't care if you die early. The texture, the flavor, the recipes I create, that's not the problem. The problem is what's inside it. Always has been, always will be, and now we have this idea that somehow if you eat anything other than a plain steak, you're failing because again, if you don't have the right information of what the devil looks like, you just see the devil everywhere. So you see the devil in the food that is in the grocery store that's killing people and causing diabetes and cancer and everything else. And then you see somebody like me making food that looks and tastes similar and maybe better. And you go, oh, those two must be the same thing. And Chris is the devil too. But I'm not. And people who are eating these things are not in league with Lucifer in the carnivore sense or keto sense. They are instead tapping into their hardwiring and enjoying the variety, which is helping them feel stable. That's why we do what we're doing. And it doesn't mean that everybody needs that, or everybody even wants that, or that everybody can handle that. There are people that have psychological issues that recipes like that would not be good for. That's not the same thing as a carbohydrate addiction. That's what that Facebook post that I was talking about is all about. The science does not lie. You cannot ignore the fact that a physiological addiction and a psychological attachment are two very different mechanisms in the body. Doesn't mean that both aren't bad. They can both be a very big problem, but they are two completely different things, and one has nothing to do with the other in terms of my recipes being proper human diet or not, which is a very interesting argument that people love to make. So if you use recipes like mine, great. If you don't, that's fine too. But the recipes aren't the problem. The fake food that overstimulates people, that's the problem. This is why I cook the way that I do. Because it matters to me, it matters to my wife, it matters to my friends and family that I have cooked for, and I think maybe for a bunch of you out there it matters as well. So what I do is I generally cook meat first, obviously, doing the whole, 90-95% carnivore thing, meat first. Low carb carnivore is the framework, right? Of course, I'm staying as low carb as I possibly can, keeping the addictive sugars and grains and all that kind of stuff out of my daily intakes, and not letting that mess with my body, because that's where the addiction comes from. I am intentional, though, about my use of texture and contrast of textures and flavors so that I can have the satisfaction without the addiction. That's the goal. This keeps people, and when I say people, I'm saying me and my wife, and a bunch of you out there too. This keeps people consistent. This prevents burnout, especially the, oh my gosh, I don't want to eat another steak, I don't want to eat another egg, I don't want to eat any of this kind of stuff, right? The fatigue, the meat fatigue, right? It prevents that burnout, and it makes real food win in your mind. That's the thing that's really the hardest, isn't it? Is getting over the battle that's internal, because we have to fight the demons that are stuck to us because other people gave us bad information and we ate things that weren't good for us. My job as a YouTuber, as someone who's creating these recipes, who's trying to inspire people, my job is not to make you tougher. It's to make real food in your life powerful, so that you don't have to be. That's what I do. That is why I do what I do. And here's the thing. For the dogmatic people that, may stumble across this video and want to see me drawn and quartered. Discipline matters, yes. Structure matters, yes. Biology always wins long term. And ignoring that human wiring causes failure far more than any of my recipes ever could. Beating people up, ignoring their wiring, acting superior to them, and trying to make people fight their biology to live up to some ideological expectation as if it was like a religious observance, that is what makes people fail. That is what makes people struggle. That is what makes people feel unwelcome. And I wonder how many people we lose to early painful deaths because the people they ran into were too proud to just help them. Pride is a big issue. And if we are so prideful and feel ourselves to be so elite and so above everybody else that we don't have any time to reach out and help people who are struggling, especially to have some kindness with it and to have some understanding and not try to force them into a box of what we do that can't actually be backed up by science makes me sort of wonder, what are we doing? Wanting enjoyable food is not weakness. Sustainability turns into strength. So if those recipes make it sustainable for you, then that leads to the consistency and the strength that it takes to change your life. Strength is not denial. Strength is sustainability. Let that one sink in. Strength isn't denial. Strength is sustainability. So, this is not about eating more. It's about needing less, but still being able to fully enjoy everything that you have. And if enjoying your food keeps you healthy, that's not an addiction. That's called intelligence. And at the end of the day, guys, I care about the outcomes, not the ideology that gets us there. I said in this Facebook post yesterday, if you're a vegan or carnivore or anywhere in between, if you are happy, healthy, and you can say scientifically, this is why I believe what I believe, and I'm feeling great, and my health is great, I'm succeeding, I'm winning, I'm whatever, I will celebrate with you. You do not have to succeed the way I think success looks for you to be deserving of it. Let me say that again. You do not have to succeed the way I believe success looks for you to be deserving of that success. We are here to get people healthy, not win purity contests. So I don't really care how you get there. If you get there and you feel good about it, I am proud of you. And along the way of me trying to figure this out for myself, I'm sharing some fun recipes and some things that work for me, and I hope it means as much to you as it does to me. So, what do you guys think about this? How do you feel about these recipes? Am I crazy? Am I making sense? What do you think? Drop it in the chat. Let's see what's going on over here in the comment section. Let's see. Sherry says, I don't think people who change their lifestyle and way of eating would be successful if they did not enjoy their food. Just my humble opinion. I agree with you. Totally agree. There's Carrie. Hola, family. Good to see you, Carrie. I believe that creationists were created and evolutionists evolved. Works for me. Dennis has to run. We'll catch the rest later. Thank you, Chris. Hope you all have a wonderful night. I'm sorry, Brian. I was looking at a comment that Dennis left here. Brian has to run, and we'll catch the rest later. Thank you, Chris. Hope you all have a wonderful night. Brian, have a great night, brother. Rebecca says, is that why we get cravings? Our body needs certain vitamins and minerals. I do think there is an element of that. I think sometimes we get cravings because our brain has been hooked on certain things, and then other times we get cravings because our body is telling us we need certain things. It's biologically makes a lot of sense. So the difference, I think, is knowing which one is it. Are you craving things that are truly good, or are you craving things that maybe you're just hooked on? And I think that's the figuring out how to draw the line for each of us part that's difficult. Carrie says, anybody here want to spend the rest of your life white-knuckling your existence? Not me. Me either. I prefer to do it the easy way. That's just me. Ronan says, makes sense. Well, thank you, Ronan. Appreciate you being here. And Carrie says, yes, just like suckling calms a baby. Absolutely. And there's Jujubee. What's up, my friend? How are ya? Anne is here. Says, hi, everyone. Dennis says, most of the time, half the food my cousin's 11-month-old is given ends up on the floor. I treated the fam to some chuck eye steak. When given the steak, she said, and it all went in her mouth. Interesting, isn't it? It's almost like babies no. Ronan says again, this is clear. It makes perfect sense to me. That's awesome. Jocelyn says this makes perfect sense. And Ronan says, I really appreciate your recipes. Well, Ronan, thank you so much. I'm glad you enjoy them. And Mary Hubbard is here, says, hi, everyone. Hi, Mary. It's good to see you. Well, guys, that's my thing. And I'm saying this because I want you guys to know for yourselves and for anyone else out there that you may run across, there are a lot of subtleties and gray areas in how we have to work through the difference in our own lives between things we're hooked on and things we really need, and figuring out when is it an excuse or when is it biology. And these things right here, these are wired into you. So understanding that, I think, is going to help hopefully figure out, like, is this an issue I'm stuck on something, or is this biology? Hopefully that'll be helpful for you. Lynn says, Hubs and I are watching and fully connecting with what you're saying here. Willpower never worked for us. Sustainability is the way. Same here. Same here. Marty says, preach it, Chris. Keep the recipes coming. Can hardly wait for the cookbook. I'm so excited to share. I was talking with the publisher about some stuff today, getting ready to do some photo shoots of me and, you know, some different things with a photographer here for, like, the cover and different things. And I'm writing out the recipes. It's really cool. It's all coming together, guys. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. Just make sure you have liked and subscribed, because I will be telling everybody as soon as it's ready to go. So here's the deal, guys. A little bit of housekeeping. The live streams, the Backstage with Chris live streams, are going to be moving to Tuesdays, at least for now. And here's why. I told you guys Ash and I joined a gym. So on Monday mornings, we get up, we have our coffee, we do our thing, and then we go to the gym and we work out. I'm very sore right now. Today was a hard day in the gym, but that's a good thing. We then come home when we go to the grocery store if need be, and then we come home, we take showers, we get ready, and then we film. So I have been filming recipe videos today, actually filming 2 videos today, one of which has 2 recipes within it. So it's actually a much more complicated video. That one's going to be coming out. I'll tell you about that in just a minute. The doing all of the gym stuff, and then going to the store, and then coming home and getting ready, and then filming, and then all, like, it just makes for a very, very long Monday. And I honestly just don't think that my brain, being neurodivergent the way that I am, is going to handle doing that every single week. So Ash and I were talking about it, and I'm going to move Backstage with Chris to Tuesdays. That is where the original Backstage with Chris live stream always was Tuesday nights. So we're going to move it to Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Central Time. We're going to give it a try there, and I think that'll make a big difference, because Tuesdays are basically an editing day for me to work on my videos all day long. I think that's going to work better for my brain, and I think it's going to be necessary for me to be able to get through the week without wanting to, punch a baby. So I'm going to do Tuesdays, 6 p.m. Central, for the live streams for a while. And I think that will be a really good move. And there's going to be some times I may do some cooking, like I used to do every week on Backstage with Chris. I may do more of these talking videos. We may go on adventures. I'm not sure. It might change every week, but it will be Backstage with Chris. It'll just be me, and maybe sometimes Ash will join, and we're just gonna do the things that we do to try to bring really good quality stuff for you guys. So that's what we're gonna be doing. We're gonna be moving that on Saturday. This coming Saturday, we have a really cool video. I have had this request I don't know how many times, so it was finally time to do it. I am bringing you keto, almost carnivore, animal-based Christmas cookies and sort of ginger snap / gingerbread hybrid cookies. So sugar cookies and the gingerbread style, almost ginger snap type cookies that are a little crispier, harder. Both of them, and the keto royal icing that you can put on top. And, again, other than the sweetener, it's all animal-based stuff, sweetener and vanilla extract, so it's all animal-based, so it's almost carnivore. No nut flours, none of the weird grittiness, none of that stuff. and they're really, really good. And not only do I show you how to bake them in the oven, I actually show you how you can make each of them in an air fryer. So if you want to make like a little quarter recipe or something and just make like 3 or 4 cookies for yourself to have while everybody else is having their typical cookies, you'll be able to do that. I will tell you, you're going to need egg white powder and whey protein isolate. Those are the 2 main ingredients. Everything else you can get pretty easily. Those are the 2 if you want to get some stuff ready to go so you can make some holiday cookies for the family. Those are the 2 you want to make sure you have on hand that might be a little bit harder to track down. Also, maybe some butter powder. You don't have to have it. It's optional, but it is really, really nice to have a little bit of the butter powder. So that video is coming on Saturday. That's going to be fantastic, and I'm going to show you, like I said, not only how to do the cookies in the oven, but also give you the times and temps to do them in an air fryer if you just want to do, 3, 4, 5 little cookies, a little tiny batch of it. I used cookie cutters to make the fun shapes. You don't have to. You could just roll them out, press them flat, and do round cookies, but either way, they're really, really good. They're really, really good. Ash hasn't had them yet. We're going to do the taste test, actually, after I get off the live stream here. We're going to go film the taste test because the cookies are done and they're just sitting in there, but she hasn't tasted them yet. I have, and they're fantastic. She hasn't tasted them yet, so be very interesting to see what she thinks. Let's see. Before I say goodbye to you guys, let me just make sure I didn't miss anything here. Donna is here, says, I really love the recipe you shared about using powdered milk to make fried chicken. Well, thank you, Donna. That carnivore fried chicken recipe is quite tasty. It really, really is. Ronan says, bloomin' ribeye coming to my kitchen soon. Well, I hope you enjoy that, my friend. That is one of the best steaks I have ever eaten in my life. Ash says she thinks it might be the best steak she's ever had. Oh, so good. You guys are seriously, you're going to love that. If you love the bloomin' onion, you're going to love that bloomin' ribeye. If you guys haven't seen that video, it's the latest recipe video on my channel. Just came out on Saturday. Go check it out. Bloomin' onion and bloomin' ribeye, keto and carnivore. Amazing. And the bloom sauce and the bloom seasoning, the whole thing. It's all there. B. Griffith says, Tuesday is so good. This is my 4th live in a row on this Monday night. Haha. I love it. Well, Tuesdays, I think, is going to be really good. So we'll be seeing you next week starting on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Just keep an eye on the channel. So Rebecca says, women crave things during certain times of the month. I'm finding healthier options for my cravings. Yes, Dr. Mindy Peltz has a bunch of good information about that. She can really help you. Actually, Ben Azadi just did an interview talking with her. Really, really cool. Ash has learned a lot from her. Great stuff. So yeah, there's a number of women out there that can really help with that, but you're right, women's hormones totally different than guys, which is why if you're a guy and you're talking about a woman's health and her diet and what's going on, you probably should just shut up and listen because you probably don't know. Jocelyn says, after decades, I'm with food has taken decades to heal. Carnivore, ketovore did the trick. Can't wait for your book, your recipes rock. Well, thank you, Jocelyn. I appreciate that, and I'm glad you're finding success. Carrie says, the only frying I want you to do is in the kitchen. Yes, absolutely. And Jocelyn said, I had to maintain 95 pounds at 5'6", professional ballet. That's wild. That is wild. So sorry about that. All right. Risa is here. Risa's Cluttered Kitchen. Good to see you, my friend. And Carrie says, huzzah, almost is good enough for once a year. Yes. And Donna says, what time? 6 p.m. If you're talking about the Backstage with Chris on Tuesdays, 6 p.m. Central. So that's 7 o'clock East Coast and would be 4 o'clock West Coast, I believe, if my math is correct. And Lynn says, making fried chicken tomorrow. Love it. I hope you enjoy that, Lynn. So good. Lynn says, restate Saturday time again, please. On Saturday, 10:45 a.m. Central Time. 10:45 a.m. Central. So 11:45 a.m. Eastern. That video will be dropping on Saturday. And it's the sugar cookies, the ginger snap, gingerbread hybrid kind of cookies, and the keto royal icing. It's really good stuff. So, and like I said, do it in the oven, but you can also do it in an air fryer if you want to just do a little small batch and you want to make them quickly, and it happens a little faster in the air fryer because of the compactness. So it's kind of a fun way to do it. It's going to be really good. Well, guys, that's what's going on. Make sure you go check out the QR code right here for the band. If you would like to come join the private community, we'd love to have you in there. In the meantime, make sure you like, subscribe, share, be here for all the things we're doing because it's a lot of fun, and I can't do it without you guys. We got great recipe videos coming, a cookbook coming in the future. There's all kinds of stuff going on. So thank you for being here. I love all of you. Thank you to my band members. I can't wait to see you guys at our next rehearsal. And I just appreciate all of you for giving me a space to figure out how I can use what I love to do to help the world. It's a great thing to get to do. So thank you guys. I love all of you guys. If I don't see you before then, my next live stream for this Backstage with Chris will be next week on Tuesday, 6 p.m. Central Time. I will see you there or maybe before, and I'll definitely be dropping that video for you Saturday, 11:45 Eastern AM, 10:45 Central AM. And we will catch you guys very soon. Get ready with that egg white powder and whey protein isolate, not concentrate, isolate for those cookies. It's going to be a good time. Thank you guys for being here. This is Chris Cook in Nashville. Eat your meat because those textures and flavors are good for you and it's hardwired into your brain. Love your life. I'll see you here for more Backstage with Chris and all of this crazy information. Guys, have a great night and talk soon. Bye.